A cat can knock a full glass of water off a table, watch it shatter on the floor, make direct eye contact with you, and walk away without breaking stride. A dog caught stealing food will cower and look guilty, but researchers have shown this isn't embarrassment. It's a learned response to your facial expression. The dog is reading your anger, not imagining how it looks to you. A chimpanzee can recognize itself in a mirror. It will use the reflection to inspect its own face, examine injuries, look at parts of itself it can't normally see, but it won't blush. Only one animal on Earth can replay an embarrassing moment from 3 years ago at 2 in the morning and feel it again physically, viscerally, as if it just happened, and that animal is you. Darwin noticed this in 1872. He spent an entire chapter of his book on human emotion trying to understand blushing, and he couldn't fully explain it, but he knew what it was. He called it the most peculiar and most human of all expressions. More peculiar than laughter, more peculiar than tears. The one emotional response that appears in every human culture on Earth, on every face, with no equivalent anywhere else in the animal kingdom. The question he couldn't answer was why. The answer, when researchers found it, turned out to say something remarkable about what kind of animal you are. Blushing has a mechanism, and it's stranger than most people realize. You cannot blush accidentally. You cannot blush at pain, or hunger, or fear, or cold. You can only blush at one thing, the moment you imagine how you appear to someone else, not what you feel, what they see. Ray Crozier at Cardiff University has spent decades studying blushing and the emotions that cause it. His conclusion: blushing is not a response to something you did. It's a response to the realization that someone else noticed you doing it. Which means blushing requires something very specific. It requires a theory of mind. This is the technical term for something you do automatically, thousands of times a day, without noticing. You model what other people think. When you tell a joke, you're modeling whether the other person will find it funny. When you give someone directions, you're modeling what they don't know. When you lie, you're modeling what they believe. When you apologize, you're modeling how your actions felt to them. Theory of mind is everywhere in human life. It is so constant, so automatic, that we don't notice it any more than we notice breathing. Other animals have versions of it. Chimpanzees understand some of what others know and don't know. Ravens track what other ravens have seen. Dogs are extraordinarily good at reading human attention, but no animal takes the leap that humans take. The full, vivid modeling of how you specifically appear to another specific mind, right now, in real time. The Sally Ann test makes this precise. A child watches a puppet, called Sally, place a marble in a basket. Sally leaves. Anne moves the marble to a box. Sally comes back. Where will Sally look for the marble? Most children over 4 years old get this right. They understand Sally has a belief, a false one, and they can model it accurately. They know what Sally thinks, even though it isn't true. A chimpanzee fails this test every time. The chimp knows where the marble is. It cannot model that Sally doesn't. And this is the dividing line. The chimpanzee can pass the mirror test. It knows it has a face. It can use a reflection. But it cannot imagine what its face looks like to you right now, while you watch it. It cannot feel what you feel about it. You can. You're doing it constantly. Blushing is what happens when that ability fires too clearly, when you suddenly see yourself from the outside, through their eyes, and you don't like what you see. Mark Leary, at Duke University, proposed something that initially sounds counterintuitive. Blushing is not a failure of social control. It evolved as a social signal. The involuntary reddening of your face announces something very specific to the people watching. It says, I know what I just did, I understand how it looked, and I care what you think about it. In a species built entirely around cooperation and reputation, this signal is enormously valuable. A creature that visibly demonstrates social awareness is a creature that can be trusted to care about others. Blushing is not weakness. It is proof of social intelligence delivered automatically. Impossible to fake. You cannot choose to blush. You cannot fake a blush. When your face turns red, you are announcing something genuine. I see myself through your eyes, and I am accountable to that. Sociopaths blush less, not because they feel no shame, but because they model other minds less vividly. The depth of your embarrassment scales with the depth of your empathy. Here's what this means. Theory of mind, the thing that makes blushing possible, is the foundation of almost every uniquely human achievement. Language requires it. You cannot use language effectively without constantly modeling what the listener knows and doesn't know. Every sentence you speak is shaped by your theory of their mind. Teaching requires it. You cannot teach something without modeling the gap between what you know and what they know. Fiction requires it. Every novel ever written is an exercise in inhabiting minds that don't exist. Civilization requires it. You cannot cooperate with strangers in markets, governments, armies, cities, without the ability to model what millions of people will think and do. Every human achievement traces back to this ability, the ability to hold another mind inside your own and model what it contains. Blushing is what happens when that ability turns on you. The most embarrassing memory you have, the one that arrives uninvited sometimes, years later, in the quiet, is not a flaw in your psychology. It is evidence of an extraordinary capacity. Your brain modeled another mind accurately enough to feel what they felt about you. Not just in the moment. Still. Now. Years later. No other animal carries this. No other animal lies awake, reconstructing a social moment from years ago, experiencing the discomfort fresh. Darwin called it the most human of all expressions. He was right, just not in the way he thought. It is not a vulnerability. It is the architecture of everything we built.